All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, we are talking about Canadian Nationals. Day one just in the books, and looking for a little bit of a recap from a man who's cage side there in Lethbridge for all the fun. I got Joel Griffith of MMA Empire on the program. How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm just kind of wondering how like the inaugural, kickoff day and everything like that has, compared to certain Canadian Nationals in past. Because I know you've been to a couple over the years.
Yeah, I mean compared to last year anyway, there was double the amount of entrants. I think last year there was only 3 or 4 fights on day one, and yesterday there was 15, which made for a lot of good action.
Yeah, and I know you did an interview with Bill Mahood and a litany of other, personalities around the Canadian MMA scene, and they were kind of talking about how the amateur, end of things on Canada doesn't necessarily compare to what other people are doing on an international level. Do you think what you're talking about there, just with more fighters coming out and it seeming to be growing, do you think we're making those measurable efforts to, I guess, have that incremental forward progression to be on that level internationally?
I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, but from what I've been hearing still from Bill and Gary is we're still a ways behind. Like this is still nothing compared to what they're getting in Europe and that kind of thing. So I think there's still a long way to go, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, no, well said. I definitely agree with that. But I mean, to the point of past champions and everything like that, current IMMAF welterweight world champion Jet Grand seemed to pick up right where he left off. Got that unanimous decision win. How impressed were you by Grant's performance? I mean, he seemed to kind of critique himself a little bit. He's like, oh, I could have postured up a little bit more and got that ground and pound off. But it seemed like a pretty thorough performance all around.
Oh yeah, he's every time I see him fight, he just seems to get better and better. Like the fight started out. Robert, he came in hard, looking for striking, and Jet swept him off his feet like it was absolutely nothing, and just kept him on the ground for the remainder of the fight. Just a typical dominant Jet Grand fight, really.
Yeah, and he's going to be getting that bye into Friday's gold medal match. He's going to be facing off with that winner of Thursday's semifinal. Who do you see him standing opposite the cage from? Like, do you have any kind of read on that fight in terms of who you think is going to be opposite Jet Grand in that gold medal match?
Well, I would like to see Ramil Kamalov, just because I think that would be a very exciting fight. I don't know too much about Blake McVitie. It'll be McVitie and Kamalov fighting today to determine who faces Grand. From what I see, they're both very strong strikers. I would be surprised to see this fight today go to the ground. I think either way, it presents an interesting dynamic for a fight with Jet. But I would like to see it be Ramil, just because of seeing him fight a few times now. I think it would make for a very interesting fight with Jet.
And to the point of, the middleweight gold medal match as well. I mean, Mark Mosier advancing there, got that quick first-round knockout over Ryan O'Connor, and is going to face Dylan Schellenberg in the finals. Do you have, like, a bit of a read on that one there? Because it seems like it's going to be, like, a pretty intense grappling affair, or at least as per, what Mark was saying and everything like that. Just really respects his opponent's grappling acumen.
Yeah, I think that one's definitely they definitely have similar styles. Mark's knockout, I mean, he's coming off his loss of his prestige title to Dan Kovalchuk, and it really seemed like he was in there with some mean intentions last night, and he showed that. Like, that knockout it was one punch knockout, and it couldn't have went better for him. I think he got the exact result he was looking for last night. As far as Dylan goes, I haven't seen Dylan fight too much other than last night, but he does have a style that could pose some problems for Mark, I would say. But I think if Mark sticks to his game plan, he's an extremely tough guy to beat.
Yeah, and he's got that proper Dylan spelling. He's got the Dylan on lock there, so gotta respect that too. But yeah, also to the bantamweight ranks. I mean, top ranked bantamweight Andrew Verk getting that dominant third round submission over Justin Gray, sort of reasserting or like reaffirming, I suppose, his status and everything like that. And he's also going to be in Friday's gold medal match, and he could be standing either opposite Peter Jansen or Walter Barrios. So where do you see kind of that semifinal going, and just who will be standing opposite Verk?
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Verk, this was the first time I've seen him fight in person. Most of his fights have taken place in BC, so I haven't got it. And the hype is real. That kid is good. He's just absolutely smothered Justin Gray. As far as the semifinal goes, again, I haven't seen too much of Walter until last night, but he put away a very tough Justin Netfly, tough and experienced Justin Netfly. Looked like he had a lot of power in his hands. But Peter Jansen comes from a good gym. He's recently moved to Calgary. He's training with Brad Cardinal and the guys there. Peter Jansen also looked very good last night. He looked good in his last fight as well. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting fight. I think I'd give the edge to Jansen just simply because it's been a while until last night since Walter's been in the cage. But either way, I think both guys will pose a tough test for Andrew for sure.
And we're talking 135ers. There's also a women's bantamweight semifinal. Riley Marchand going to be going and advancing to that gold medal bout against Megan Boychuk there. So just a compelling fight there. What do you see kind of happening on that end of things? Because it seemed like Marchand was, certainly, I guess, frustrated by, some of the aspects of, getting out there and just in the lead up to it, but kind of like turned it on when she was in the cage and ready to go. So how do you see that matchup unfurling?
Yeah, I mean, Riley was impressed. I mean, she's only 17 years old, too, which I didn't know. And she was very impressive. I haven't seen Megan fight in person, but as far as the lead-up goes, I talked to Riley last night, and, yeah, apparently she was under the impression she was fighting Friday. She didn't know they had found another opponent for the women's bantamweight division, so she didn't know she was fighting. So she didn't have any coaches or any family, anything out here. She was out when she got the call that she had to come fight. So, she had to come all alone. She had someone in her corner, but I don't think I'm pretty sure it wasn't any sort of trainer or anything like that. But yes, I mean, to overcome that and get the finish in the way that she did at her age was pretty impressive.
Oh, super impressive. Got to give a big shout out to that. But to the point of shout outs, I noticed also Eric Stevens and a litany of other people are going on to Friday's gold medal matches. Andrew Mavridis going to be in action for Thursday's semifinals. So what do you see in terms of things we should be looking forward to with Friday's gold medal matches? Was there anything on the card that really stood out to you that we didn't highlight that maybe you would want to shine a spotlight on?
Well, I think one of the big upsets would have to be Will Grieve beating Lorenzo Celis. Lorenzo Celis in all his fights, other than his amateur debut, he's looked unstoppable. And Will Grieve caught him with a straight arm lock with 6 seconds left in the first round. Maybe he caught Lorenzo just trying to get out of the round, but I mean, Lorenzo was dominating the fight on the feet for the entire first round, and then he just got caught. So Will Greaves will be in the light heavyweight final, taking on Eric Stevens, who, him and John Moore really went at it. That was a back and forth war. Let's see what else. What other fights are we looking forward to here? I mean, as far as semifinal matches today, we got Stephen Thomas and Aaron Anstill. Both those guys can throw hands pretty good. That should be an exciting fight. Andrew Mavridis is facing Russ McCumber, who got a bye into the semifinals. It's been a while since Russ has fought, but he has lots of experience in the cage, 9 amateur fights, I believe. So that one, with Andrew Mavridis being 5-0, that one's got potential to be a pretty good, skilled fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate all the insights for everything that went on with day one, and appreciate you coming on the program. Joel would have to, get you on tomorrow and get some, recaps of day 2 if you're interested.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome, man. Well, enjoy everything with the fights tonight, and yeah, have a great rest of your day up till then.
Will do. Thank you. You as well.
All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, we are getting a recap of day 2 of Nationals, and I have Joel Griffith on the program again to give us the rundown of all the big highlights. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It seems like all 10 gold medal matches are lined up, and everything's kind of rolling along. Ramil Kamilov getting ready to advance to face Jet Grant and everything like that. So, what did you think about just that matchup and just everything coming to fruition with Kamilov versus Grant? Because in the day 1 recap, you were saying that was a fight that would really be getting you fired up.
It is indeed, yeah. As soon as I saw they were in the same division, I really wanted to see that fight. And I was talking to Ramil last night, and it's also a fight that he's had his eye on ever since he registered, knowing that he would be in the same weight class. So he seems to think that he has the recipe to beat Jet as well. I talked to him. He said he thinks he knows what he has to do. The hard part is actually executing it, but he said he thinks he knows what has to be done to beat him.
Yeah, and all the best to Blake McVitie as well. I noticed that you reported that he'd had an injury that got him out of that semifinal match, so all the best to him too.
Yeah, apparently it was something to do with his back when he threw that knockout punch. Apparently it tweaked something in his back at the same time, and so he was unable to compete yesterday.
And then Mavridis, getting that victory. Andrew Mavridis advancing to the lightweight final, got that split decision over Russ McCumber. What did you think about that particular fight there? It seemed like a hotly contested affair based on the fact that it was a split decision. Did you kind of view it through the same lens of a split decision win?
It was a kind of a tough fight to call, really. I mean, in my eyes, I was leaning towards McCumber, as was a lot of other people apparently, because there was a lot of backlash after the decision was made. McCumber's corner was very fired up after the decision, and I think they even tried to appeal it afterwards, because McCumber definitely took the first round. I think the second round probably went to Mavridis, and the third round, it was so hard to say. I mean, I'm no judge, so I don't want to say, what I thought or anything, but I was leaning towards McCumber if I had to pick. But it was a very hard one to call, and a tough loss for McCumber as well.
Based on the insight you gave, it really sounded like that hotly contested fight that I was thinking it would be. But Aaron Ansel advancing to the lightweight final as well, going to be standing opposite Mavridis there, and got that, tough first round going on there, overcame Stephen Thomas, got the, second round knockout and everything like that. So were you impressed by that performance, just the resilience and the ability for Aaron Ansel to rally back and secure himself a spot in that lightweight final?
Yeah, it was definitely impressive. Stephen looked very good in the first round. He controlled pretty much the entire first round until taking the knockout shot early into the second. Aaron looked good. He's looked good both fights now. I think he versus Mavridis should be a really good fight. They both like to stand and trade, so I think that one should be an entertaining one.
Yeah, and Peter Jansen, I also noticed, coming out with the victory there. And, finishing Walter Barrios, second round TKO there. So Indrup Verk going to be in that final there. And that's going to be a really compelling one, too. So what are your thoughts on that matchup in terms of how these guys, because Peter Jansen, a little bit more tenured, has like a slight edge in terms of the fight experience. But, Verk, such a well-regarded guy, a lot of buzz around him, as we alluded to in the day one recap. So what are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's along with the Kamalov and Grand fight. I think that one I'm also really looking forward to. Like I said yesterday, Indrup Verk he's the real deal. He's very, very talented, very hard guy to control in there. But Peter he's looked really good. He looked good yesterday. He's got himself in some trouble in the first round, but he was able to make it through and looked really good in the second round. And he could very well pose some problems for Indrup. I'm really looking forward to that one. I don't see that one being a stand and trade type affair. I think it's going to be kind of a whoever can land the first takedown will control the round sort of a fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of compelling narratives heading into the finals here, too. I noticed Ansel also has the chance to secure a victory in front of his hometown. I noticed he's a Lethbridge lad there, so probably going to have like a partisan crowd behind him, even if he doesn't win. Just, people like really hyping him up and getting fired up. So great opportunity for him in the hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. Even yesterday and the day before, you could hear he definitely had a few fans in the crowd, and there wasn't not much of an audience there for the first 2 days, but what there was, we're definitely on his side.
Yeah, but we're speaking of Lethbridge combat. I noticed he also took in another fight there. You had a couple guys tilting outside of Tim Hortons. Who do you think was the Farmers Wrap featherweight champion of Lethbridge after that tilt?
Yeah, it was funny. It kind of looked like something was about to go down. They were just kind of yelling at each other and talking. So I decided to just sit in the car and wait to see what went down. And they went at it for a solid 1 or 2 minutes. Pretty good affair.
Not the best cardio though, sort of thing.
No, absolutely not. No.
Those farmers wraps will do that to you. But everybody can check out some great coverage from MMA Empire. A lot of real comprehensive know-how with, the Alberta scene and everything like that. So be sure to check out MMA Empire with Rumble in the Cage 61 getting ready to go. And also on libertymultimedia.com, I'll be doing a write-up as well. So got plenty of Rumble in the Cage coverage. But I appreciate you coming on the program, Joel. All the best with, all the endeavors you have going forward. And I know you're getting some sponsorships, so getting some traction going on. That's always good. Hope you have fun at the fights tonight, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.